Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the AquaStax Hour with me, Long Steve, at 3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, February the 16th. Right, I'm going to get straight back into it after my somewhat successful, somewhat aborted attempt at doing some things on Tuesday evening. I much prefer these Thursday afternoon streams because it's daylight and I'm still a bit fresher. It's not the end of the day after a long and busy day. It's been busy, but it's not the end yet. So I'm going to jump straight back into wherever I was. I shall do a little bit of chatting to myself while I set things up, just because I didn't get a chance to warm my voice up before I started today. One of the interesting things I've discovered is that it's a bit better, or I find myself being more comfortable and feeling better if I've done a bit of chatting and warming my voice up before I start the stream. So basically, when I go and make my cup of tea, I talk to myself, and I don't actually do any singing exercises or anything as insane as that. But just having a little bit of a warmed up voice box seems to help as well. Plus, my throat isn't quite so dry. Anyway, so let's start up my gulp serve task and bring up Chrome. There's Chrome. Excellent. Oh, hi Jacobs, good to see you. Welcome back. Glad you could come along today. Just trying to remind myself of where I got to on Tuesday, wasn't it? Yes. I think I'd hit a couple of bugs, or I'd tried to do something, and I'd somehow managed to introduce a bug or reintroduce something I thought I'd fixed. Anyway, my thing that I wrote, so what was I going to do? I was going to write fix the block sliding sideways into place. I did this, but broke it again with the key repeat handling. Yes, so I did something. That was right. I was fiddling around with the old keyboard repeats, and it didn't quite work, or at least I got what I thought was working, but then I introduced some bugs, or reintroduced some bugs that I thought I'd already fixed. And then there was this magic number which I was somewhat obsessed by at the time. I think somewhere down here is a 2.5. There it is. Where does this magic number come from? It looks like I tried to find it, but it didn't work. And then abstract the keyboard keys so that in future I can redefine them without changing all the code. That was right. I was a little concerned about peppering the code with this, so I might have a look at that in a minute. And actually, one of the other things I was looking at was changing the frame rate, and also how to get that frame rate from within the game, because I've hard-coded it here, and I've hard-coded it in my project.json file. That's a bad idea, putting it in two places. In fact, I think, yes, I got stung by leaving this at 30 by accident, and frames were stuttering. But I did have a quick look through the documentation and the source code of Cocos2d-JS, and I found that there is reference to a game config object, which I think is literally this file loaded up into the runtime. So I'm going to use that instead of 60 in my code. I don't know if it's officially part of the API, but it'll do for me now. So let's start by doing that. Then I think I'm going to look at these keyboard keys and then ease into seeing if I can't find out those bugs that I introduced the other day. Right. Where was I going to go to? Game.json. Here we are. So I don't need to put 60 in there. I can just do this. And we can leave that where it is for now. And then the next thing I want to do is I'm going to look at these keys. So we've got, let's just create myself some variables for a minute. I may not leave them in this position. I might put them somewhere else, like add them to the class or something, but we'll start with doing it this way. So I'm going to have left pressed, right pressed. What else do I want? I want rotate, pressed, and drop. I could call that down, but I'm going to actually refer to them in terms of the block movement instead. So left pressed. Oh, I know what I want to do. I want to do left pressed equals one of these keys here. Here we go. Right pressed. Then we want rotate. So I had a look at the Slick Edit tip of the day on Twitter, or tip of the week on Twitter. I won't find it again in my Twitter stream, but it was basically that you can obtain the full path name of the file you're editing by right-clicking on the tab and then doing copy path name to clipboard. There we go. How useful is that? Ooh, live coding TV support. Good to see you. So the Slick Edit tip of the week, as brought to you by Slick Edit on Twitter, but demonstrated by me, is copy full path to clipboard. And then I guess I can paste that into anywhere I like, or I'll stick it in there. Users Steve projects AquaStax lowercase source game.js, right? And what else do we want? Drop pressed. There we go. Right. I'm looking forward to the new changes that you're bringing into the live coding or live edu platform, so I can create projects rather than just have a single stream. Should be good. Been waiting for or been watching the newsletters that they produce, telling you things, and it keeps on saying coming soon. So looking forward to it. Right, left and right, we want rotate. So that was up, isn't it? Up pressed, and drop press is down. So now I should be able to just replace these references in the rest of my code. I might need to move these variables, but we'll do that when we come to it. So this is left. The idea being that if I want to change these keys at any point, I can just change this bit of code up here or abstract this out into some kind of options or configuration dialog in the game. Left pressed, right pressed. And then if not left or right, actually no, not left and not right. Not right pressed. And not left pressed. Actually, I'm going to do left first. Left and not right, then move delay. Where else are we? Okay. So this was interesting here. This self-handle repeat block movement left and right. Well, I've done that already. I wonder if that bit of code is even necessary anymore. Let's see. Trouble is, I don't want to change it. Can't change too many things in one go, or else I'll get it all wrong. What I might just do is comment it out. Come back to it in a minute once I've gone through and changed all of these. Right. So this is rotate the block through 90 degrees. Right. Actually, I'm going to put that first. And it's going to be rotate pressed, isn't it? Rotate pressed. And rotate the block through 90 degrees. So we were doing this timing system the other day where the rotate only takes effect after a certain amount of time. Okay. Who's that? Oh, CA2. Good to see it. Right, I'm just going through refactoring some of these key definitions. So now we've got key up. So once rotate block through 90 degrees, rotate pressed, and it sets it to false here. That's a similar thing to this. I'm pretty sure those bits of code aren't needed anymore. So I'm going to comment that out. Then carry on, look for many more definitions where it uses keys. I think that must be all of it. Unless there's a fast drop down here somewhere. See, there's fast drop. Where's fast drop set? Ah, it's that one there, isn't it? So actually, I don't need fast drop. What uses fast drop? Literally just 3 places. So I don't need a member in my game object for that. So let's just do. We've got key down, we've got drop pressed. So let's fast drop again if it's drop pressed. There we go. Now, let's just do a quick search for any of these keys pressed. I know, I want to do this one, don't I? If not rotate pressed. Right, self.keys pressed. 2, 3, 4. Just the commented out stages, and that's it. Right. See if that still works. Okay, left and right is good, and it's repeating at the rate I set. Nice and quickly, and drop down. Right. So that's all still working okay. So the glitch that was occurring was something to do with that dropping in place. And actually, I've commented these out as well. Is that correct? Let's just try with my Mac keyboard, make sure that it's working in that scenario. Yep, repeating, rotating, dropping down nice and fast. Excellent. Right, so I'm going to get rid of these bits of code. handle block repeat. Nope, don't do that anymore. Right. I should comment these a little bit, shouldn't I? Get key states. General purpose collision detection. So move left. And another thing, I was using this self.dx and dy, but I don't really think I need to, because they're only used in a couple of places. And again, I don't think I need to store the dx and dy delta values in my in my game object when this stuff just isn't really needed. Let's try searching for self.dy as well. So actually, self.dy isn't used anyway. Hi, Samil, good to see you, or Simil. So actually, let's get rid of dy, and let's see if we can't replace dx with something as well. So self.dx is whether or not I am moving left or right. It sets it to 1 or -1, and then we work out a local variable dx, which is then the actual amount of pixels to shift the block by left or right, isn't it? And then we set it to 0. So actually, it's only used in a couple of places. So I'm pretty certain I can get rid of these as well. They're certainly confusing me. Right, self.dx. So what do we do here? If left pressed, else if... So this is the timing business, isn't it? Move left or right. So what I could have is a couple of other variables, key states, let's say movement, block movement variables. I wonder if there's probably a point where I should abstract a whole bunch of this code out of my update block as well, because it's now, it's not too long at the moment. When we start adding other stuff in, I'll have to definitely get rid of it. Or not get rid of it, but get rid of it from update in general and put it into some kind of handle block movement method. So what I want is var move, let's call it dx for now, move dx. So that's movement. What else have we got? Ooh, Bulbasaur coming along. Hi, good to see you. Never been a big Pokemon player myself. Just the odd game here and there. Oh, and then they've gone again. So going to be a few people dropping in and out, I expect. Right. Something somebody mentioned the other day, which is very cool. I think it might have been Chozilla or somebody. I can get my bot to say names of people when they arrive. Oh, excuse me, just going to cough. Mute myself. Yes, get my bot to say the names of people when they arrive by using the say command. Say is an old Unix command. Now, I can't remember if I've configured the stream to play my desktop audio or not.
Long Steve.
So it said that. Did you hear that at all? Just wondering if... don't know if it comes out of the stream or not. But one of the, so who else was there? There was Live Tester. That was right. Somebody else was watching called Live Tester at the time, and I typed in say Live Tester, and it comes out as Liver Tester, which is really funny.
Liver Tester.
So I thought I probably wouldn't use that in my bot just to announce people's names, even though I'm not very good at pronouncing them. I'll say bulb. See what it makes of this, shall we?
Bulbasaur.
Oh, that one, it works pretty well. It says that really well. I did actually find a really nice looking website that has a web audio system which does text to speech, and they have a free developer API and like a number of usages per month or something like that, and you can do it for free. And they actually came up with some really nice sounding text, so I might see if I can hook my bot into that at some point. I can't remember the URL now. Anyway. So let's go back to getting sidetracked. So what I want to do is move dx, set that to 0. Block movement variables. Let's set it to move dx. What I really want is just come down here, don't I? Why don't I just use dx? So we stored dx and dy. Dx and dy, the point pixels difference to move the block in one game update. So if I stick them up here, dx, a bit short, but I'll see movement left, move block left and right in pixels. So dx is 0, dy, I suppose I could look at dy, which is already down here. No, I'll do it 0 for now. Right, so move left or right, dx equals, and we want -1 times block size. And dx equals block size. I'll leave the 1 times block size in there just so I know that it's okay. Move 1 block left. One block right. Okay. So down here, actually I could probably put these a bit further up as well because they're sort of constants, aren't they? Game key states, let's put them here. Game update values. One thing I discovered actually, which is quite interesting, is that there is a delta time value passed in to update, because when you specify 60 frames a second in your project JSON here, what you're effectively doing is requesting 60 frames a second for your game update, but you're not necessarily guaranteed to get it. So update is actually passed in the amount of time, and I think it's in seconds, so it's a floating point in seconds, since the previous update was called. And if it's 60 frames a second, it's going to be 0.016 or 16 milliseconds per frame. And you can use that if you need to smooth things out or do stuff based on a specific frame rate that you may, sorry, based on a variable frame rate if you're not getting a specific one. But I'm not going to do that. That's quite complicated to write code that does that. Smoothing out interpolation between points and movement and stuff like that based on a variable frame rate. And I shouldn't have to do it. It's only if you're making really complex code, which isn't necessarily going to run at 60 all the time. I didn't put that in there, and I didn't even realize it was part of the update function. But when I was debugging or digging through the code to find this frame rate variable, I found it. If I actually have a quick look for that, if I do a search in the source, no. Control F. Let's do that. Let's use the game config. Here we are. It's in CC boot that it sets it up and does a few things. I can't look for it now, but definitely in there somewhere I found out that delta time is passed in, but I'll leave it out for now. Actually, let's if I save that, it's going to whinge at me. I might leave it in there to remind me in the future. Yeah, there we go. DT is never used. DX is already. Oh, I've got to change the definition of DX and DY down here, so I don't need that anymore. DY. So there we go. DT is defined but never used. Yes. How do I must remind myself how I turn that off of JS hint. I've done it somewhere before. Here we go. JS hint unused false. Let's do that. Although I only want to do it for my if I do that. So if I have an unused variable, Bob equals true. Does it say Bob is defined but never used? But if I stick in here JS hint unused false and save, see, it doesn't warn me about Bob anymore either. But I only want it to warn me about that specific variable. JS hint unused false. I'll leave that for now. Figure that out another day. Right. So a little bit of tidying up going on, and then hopefully that'll let me figure out a bit more about what my code needs to do. So if drop pressed, then we work out fast dy, don't we? Fast dy does that. Do I use self.dx or dy anywhere? Doesn't look like I do. I think I set it back to 0 down here somewhere. Yeah, I didn't like the fact that that was just like hanging off the bottom of the logic. Totally forgot what that did. So let's get rid of it. Right. So let's, since we're now using local variables, that'll happen anyway. Let's see if things still work. Okay. Okay, lots of rotating going on. Go to the left, go to the right. Let's see if I can drop that in. Right, now that didn't slide in, you see, that should have slid in. So now let's fix up these sliding bugs. So what I think is happening is that because my keyboard is repeating constantly, it's doing a key press and a key released, key press, key released. Drop pressed and drop released are going to be potentially toggling. Sorry, not left press and right press are going to be toggling on and off. And I think that ends up somehow basically breaking the bit of code that tries to work out whether or not it can go sideways. Where was that? Was it here? No, this is the align block. Here we are. Adjust the Y position if shoot block is aligned into the grid. So let's make that tidy. Adjust the Y position if the block is aligned with the grid. This lets the block slide left and right into tiny gaps. So that's doing that all the time, isn't it? Which is fine. And then test to see if the falling block can move sideways, and if it can't, it sets it to 0. And then we test to see if it can move straight down. Okay. But could it be that where my left and right code isn't always triggered every frame, that it could easily miss a frame where it's actually aligned with the grid to slide sideways, but because my key presses are cycling, it's not actually working. So I'm going to use my real keyboard and try that out again and see what happens. So let's refresh that. I don't know if you can see on the stream, I'm using my Mac keyboard here. So normally I use a tool called Synergy, which shares my PC keyboard and mouse, which is attached to my PC, currently running Linux, with my Mac. But by doing that, there's this bug which causes the you can't hold a key down, basically. If you hold a key down, you get multiple key pressed and key released events, whereas on the real keyboard, if I hold it down once, I get one key pressed event, and I don't get a key released event until I let go of it, so you know that it's always pressed, which is exactly what you need in this scenario. So that didn't slide in, which is interesting. I should have done. I'm going to never get the right blocks when you want them. Ooh, esteemed follower, Metafrogster. Good to see you. It's been a little while. Just looking at some bugs here. I should be able to slide this block in, but you see that one did it. Now I bet there'll be scenarios where I can't do that. I also think I had another interesting bug where I managed to slide a block in when it got to the side of a... So I'm moving this block down, holding the key on the left. No, it's not sliding to the left. And it didn't there. Why didn't it there? It should have done. Maybe it's just on that bottom row. Probably something to do with it colliding with the base. So let's just see if I'm comfortable with the bug being okay when it's not on the bottom row. That one I don't want. Like that. Ah, this one's perfect. So I should just better hold that in, and it slots in nicely. Right. Let's try on the other side. Can I do it quickly? No. If I'm dropping it down fast, it doesn't slide in. That's okay. Ah, that's the bug I saw. It jumped down. So it's obviously see, now it's not going in at all. It didn't slide once there. That's very annoying. I've got to try and figure this out, but it's oh, it didn't slide either. Ooh, I wonder if it actually placed it in the right position, but left the sprite in the wrong place. I'm going to have to draw the grid in a minute to try and figure this one out. I can't remember if you come and go multiple times, whether it gives you the fireworks every time. I think after 3 or 4 goes, my bot stops meeting you, or sorry, bot stops greeting you when you join the room, so you don't get your name in lights all the time. Although maybe with followers it does it all the time. See, why can't I get this thing? Had to refresh the page. Ah. Yeah, I was watching someone stream earlier, and Live Coding TV, the video glitched on me and it wouldn't keep playing. Well, that slid in correctly in the bottom, so I had to refresh the page. Let's try this one. Dink. So that one slid in. I've got to figure out why it won't always slide in. See, that one went in. That one won't. Ah, there we go. Dink. Oh no, that slid down to the right. Tough this, because I need to find a reproducible scenario. And it's bound to be to do with the blocks not being aligned properly. I wonder if I could slow the frame rate right down. That might help. And I've also got this weird number 2.5 here, which I've just put in arbitrarily. See, I tried to work it out the other day. My reasoning was that it should be the amount of distance a block will move in one game update, which is block size divided by frames per second, times by 2, so that it could be that amount above or below the very exact position. And if it was within that distance, then I should align it so that it slides. And if I, but to, I can't remember what block size. 50 divided by 2 divided by, oh no, 100 divided by 60, isn't it? So it's going to be something like 1.6 or something like that. That is that number there rather than 2.5. So it should be smaller than I kind of worked out as. But this one didn't seem to work. It definitely doesn't drop into place correctly all the time. Ah, there's a nice small one. I'm going to use my real keyboard. So I'm holding it down. Pop. Oh, that one did actually go into place. See, it's not consistent. It needs to be reproduced. Ah, I missed it. Reload. It's possible my. Oh, no, that didn't slide in when I wanted it to. Yeah, that one didn't slide. So I definitely want to see if it's the real keyboard. Is there any way? I don't. When I'm using my Synergy keyboard, I don't think there's any way I can account for the fact that the events come in constantly. I mean, I can demonstrate that here just by sticking a print statement in my key action. Key plus key code. So, ooh, did I break it? Oh no, I got a breakpoint from last time. So if I hold the left key down, I get press release, press release, press release. You'll see it spamming up there on the log. Whereas if I use my real keyboard, I get one pressed, lots of repeat pressed events, which is fine, and then one released event, which is how it's supposed to be. So that's what I want to try and do. Oh, could it be though, even though I'm getting repeat pressed events, I bet there are frames where no key is pressed. I'm thinking my real keyboard shouldn't have a problem, but if the repeat rate is less than 60 times, I bet it is. Let's actually put the print log down in here. So actually I'll borrow it. Cut and paste. I'm just going to do key left. And it's left pressed. So it's released, yeah, which is fine. I hold it down, hold it down. I'm getting released, lots of pressed, but it's definitely jittering with the released every now and again. So there's definitely the frames when it releases. If there's a point where it's released, I wonder if it's released and no, because I'm flipping it Boolean, aren't I? They're basically, it can't be pressed and released at the same time. So it's possible that the update loop could get called. Gonna have to cough again, just mute myself. So it's possible that the update loop could be called when effectively the logic thinks the key is not pressed, even though it is. But will that happen if I do this every frame? It's key action that's storing it, isn't it? So it's always going to be pressed unless it's released. But in the event that in my remote keyboard there could be the update loops which occur when the key isn't pressed, but with my real keyboard that should never happen. That should always remain true, unless I'm not calling clear keys every frame, am I? No, clear keys is never called. I'm now using local variables every frame, so it's not, shouldn't be setting keys pressed anywhere. Nope. Okay, let me just try that again then. I'm going to put something on this. I'm not going to use the log. I'm going to put something on the screen that actually tells me the key pressed states. So let's have a key press indicators. INDICATORS. Key press. Draw nodes. I want, don't I? Key press indicators. We're going to have an array. And can I do that? I better put null there. So what we want is self.keyPressIndicators equals that. KeyPressIndicators 0 equals new cc.drawNode. Do I want a triangle or something? Yeah, that'll do, won't it? Where's my... Did I put it in globals? Utils, wasn't it? Oh, did I even put it in there? Add files. Where's my file dialog going to come from there? Source. Test node, no. Trying to remember where I put my my draw triangle function. Nope. Draw try. There it is. Globals. Oh, I put it in there. Stupid me. Node, XY, type and color. Right. Ooh, I can use the slick edit thing I learnt the other day. Where are we going to? We're going to edit. No, edit. Other. Enumerate. This can take me longer than just typing in 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, or 0, 1, 2, and 3. Start at 0, increment by 1, pad digits to 1, decimal, bang. 0, 1, 2, and 3. There we go. Control U for unselect. Right. Now let's do aq.draw try indicator 0, and it's hover over that. Does that work? There we go. X and Y, type and color. Right. So where am I going to put them? Going to put them in the. I'm on my game screen here, so I can actually do it outside the game panel, can't I? So let's do left. So let's do 10 and Y off from the bottom. I think it is 100. Oh, actually, I could do game panel. Where's it? Add game panel. This is game panel.x. There we go. I want game panel.x minus 100. And we want off the bottom of the screen. Let's have it in the middle. So we want cc.winsize. We want h divided by 2. Right. xy type. Ooh, that's the top of my triangle, isn't it? So I kind of want one that points up. So I have 1, type 1, and then color, cc.color red. A equals 0, right. Ooh, hello, Zhu, good to see you. Just getting completely carried away by the code, not noticing people arriving. So aq.draw triangle, and then if I'll just do one for now, and then we'll test them out. Self.addChild. Let's see, does that draw me a triangle? Yes, it does. There's a red triangle there. Great. I'm going to want 2 of them, aren't I? To point upwards. Let's do aq.draw. Does that wipe out the draw poly? Can I do multiple draw poly calls? I can't remember. I don't think I can. What I want to know is if I call draw poly twice, does it just combine them, or do I have to do 2 triangles? I might just work out my own triangle shape at this point. Let's borrow this. Spending loads of time writing some test code, but at least it's something. I'm writing some code. So what do we want? Bottom left. Ooh, text message. Excuse me. Mute my phone so it doesn't keep going off. It's my wife. 0, 0. Let's have 50, 50. Yep. Then let's have 100, 0. And we don't want aq.draw triangle. We just want to do that. Self dot draw poly triangle. Let's just do that red. Oh, I can leave that one blank, can't I? What's that for? Is that the number of vertices or something else? Yeah, number of vertices. 4. I've got 3 vertices there. Yeah. So that should give me a. So no, I've broken it. Didn't it like? Cannot be properly A of undefined. I got to do that. There it is. Right. So there's my pointy uppy triangle, and I want to position that equals, what did I say, self.gamePanel.x minus 150. Page divided by 2. There it is. Right. Now I can do some other ones. Actually, let's move that. It's 100 wide, isn't it? So I want 250 there. I can surely streamline this, but I'm just going to copy and paste. So this one's going to be x minus 250, 350 for now. H divided by 2 minus 100. And we want to do rotation dot rotate. Is that going to work? Rotate the element 90 degrees. Let's see which way 90 degrees goes. I'm hoping this. Oh no, I got the I didn't set that to 1, did I? Rotate is not a function, so it's going to be set rotation. There we go. So rotation is to the right, so rotation is clockwise. So I kind of want that one to be anti-clockwise. Will now minus 90 work? Yes. Right. We don't need minus 350 there. Minus 300 because they're only 50 wide. That'll do. Let's put another one in. This one's going to be minus 100 maybe. Yeah, that's going to be 90 degrees. So minus 100. Yeah, where's that one stuck down there? H divided by 2 minus 100 should be the same height as that one. I don't know why it's moved down there. Oh, possibly because I'm rotating it and it's doing something funky. Let's just do minus 50. It's weird. See, I'd have thought that that first one... Ah, is the first one the right-hand one? No, the first one is the pointing up one. Must be the rotation is causing the positioning to go funny. This one I want 180, and we want the X position to be minus 250. Where's that going to put it? There. See, that's totally weird. That X position is the same. Oh, 3. See that X position, the Y position is the same now. So that one we want something like minus 100. And the game panel.x. See, why is that X position for that one was pointing down? I'm looking there. It's not the same as that first one. When it's X minus 250. Very weird. Let's do X minus 150. Just randomly positioning them. There we go. Oh, that's close enough. Right, now I want to hide them all. Does hide work? No, it's set visible false. See, I can type that in quicker than I can go to slick edits, whatever it is, edit, other, enumerate. Useful for very, very large enumerations. What did I get wrong? Set visible of undefined. Oh, yeah, of course. It's not add child, it's just on the node itself. There we go, right. Okay, so they all disappeared, right? And now, what I want to do is on pressed key code. So I need a map of key indicators to, let's do self dot key map equals. Is this going to work? They're integers probably. I'm going to need an array. So we want key map, key codes. Now these key codes I'm used down here. Here we are. cc.key dot. So up is my first one, and that's going to be 0. Up, left, right, and down. So that maps the key codes to my indexes into key press indicators. In fact, I could just store key press indicators in there, couldn't I? Yeah. Don't know why I didn't do that. Do it this way for now. Sitemap, key map. Don't have to define these variables up here, but it helps just to remember them all. And where was I going? There we go. Right. So in here, what I want to do is self dot key press indicators. Self dot key map key code. Was that? Oh, Sharkoon1. Good to see you. Hi. Key code. Okay. Dot set visible true. And down in here, false. With any luck, then, that should indicate as I press keys. Oh, I have to click on that. There's one. There's another one. Bingo. That's working. Right. So, interestingly, every frame, it's left pressed until I press release. But I was expecting occasional release to occur. But I can't see it. I wonder why not. You'd have thought that that would flash. I mean, it's going to be quick if it's only going to be once every occasional frame. Or do I want to do it down in here? I mean, I could, if I didn't do that, I could, actually for a start, I could do this. Alright, but if I didn't want to put it there, if I want to put it in my actual game update, then for each one of these, so let's do 0. Up, down. So this is going to be drop. Pressed, left. So this will indicate my actual variables that I'm using in the update call. Right. Right, so definitely leave it there. So now, when I press, it stays on pretty solidly. Yep. That's me tapping them. So I'm expecting those to be flashing on and off periodically, but they're not. At least not that I can see. That's probably a good thing. It means I've got to look somewhere else for my bug, though. What I thought it might have been, which is the fact that there's a potential update frame where the key left pressed or right pressed isn't actually pressed, so that it's not. There's another. There is another thing, though, isn't there? So what does my code actually do when it wants to move something left or right? It's only setting dx. Of course, it's only setting dx every 200 or 100 milliseconds, whatever my update rate is. Where did I define it? In here. My key delay milliseconds. Yes. So I'm logging all these indicators up top here. What I actually want is down here. Because here I'm setting we're setting dx and dy, aren't we? Right. And fast drop pressed. So here's the point where we're going to actually start moving the block based on things that have been calculated up here. So here's the left and right movement. We set dx. Here's the bit about rotating, which it does some collision testing as well. And here's the bit about fast dropping. Right. So if I use rotate pressed, actually, what do I do? Indicate, so rotate pressed, but only when self.rotate delay milliseconds is greater than the key delay. Set new rotate. What I want to do is some kind of, I'll just set some kind of variable that says rotated, general purpose collision detection, action triggers, I suppose. Var will rotate. We'll move left. We'll move right. We'll drop. There we go. So if I set, if no collision, let's just do will rotate equal true in here. And where else are we going? Drop pressed, no collision, fast to right, will drop equal true. And then we want the move left and move right, so that's a bit further down that we calculated here, don't we? We can basically, I suppose I could do, somebody else joined, totally missed who that was, do apologise. Somebody called Austin Gale, but they've not appeared. Oh, there's Austin Gale, welcome. She's not in the chat on my window here yet. It seems to be a bit of a delay on that one. Not worry about it. Hey, there we go, appeared. And the hat as well. Right. Don't forget you can play with the hat if you like. Live on the stream, type !hat. Actually, I'll just type help first, and Tim will describe the hat commands. And we can do hat Cylon. If anybody watches Battlestar Galactica or the original 1970s Battlestar Galactica, then you'll know what a Cylon does. Cycles its eye left and right like that. And you can change the colours and do other things. Anyway, where was I? At some point, when I've got my sewing and needlework kit sorted, I'm actually going to embed the LCD strip that you see wrapped around the hat inside it and have little holes that the LEDs shine through. And then I can wear the hat on my head. At the moment, it's a bit fragile. The strip is just taped in place, so I can't really wear it. Right. So what I actually want to do is just use these now to visualize my actual movement variables, don't I? I was kind of getting a bit carried away there. I don't really care about these for the moment, but I might have those later. So the triggers are actually so move up is basically, oh yeah, the will rotate one I didn't actually have for now. Will rotate, because I don't actually store anything in here that indicates that the block has rotated. So will rotate equal true. But I have other variables which indicate that the fast drop is occurring. So fast dy, so up will rotate. Down is basically if fast dy, dy equals fast dy. Left pressed is dx is less than 0. Right pressed is dx is greater than 0. So now that's more like it. Now I'm getting a flash where I'm not getting right pressed, but never mind. Why am I getting right pressed? Oh, it's dx, not dy. So there are frames where, and even, of course, even when I use my real keyboard, although my key is pressed, my calculation for shifting left and right isn't happening every frame. So what happens is, if the block that I'm moving down comes into its exact alignment so that it should slide into a little gap on one of the frames where my dx variable is 0 because it's not been set due to my key repeat rate, my timings, then of course it's not actually going to move, is it? It's just not going to decide it can go left. And I'm not going to be able to see it very easily, but I think I've now convinced myself that's what's happening. Yes. Which is probably why this number, the way I calculated a line distance, so that it should be the amount of pixels the block moves in one frame multiplied by 2, didn't work all the time, because the number of frames that if my block is only moving left or right every 100 milliseconds, then, oh, baby swag 1, good to see you. I wonder if there are baby swag 2 and increasing. I wonder if somebody already has baby swag. That's why you had to have baby swag 1. It's always funny when you see people's numbers after their user IDs. You wonder who has the lower versions. It's like when you see Bad Bob 693, you think, oh, well, there are 692 other Bad Bobs that meant you had to have that number. Anyway, right. So yeah, so I suspect number. What's 100 divided by what was my frame? 100 milliseconds. So that's going to be basically there are going to be a whole bunch of frames where it shifts around and isn't going to be moving left and right. Okay. Now, after all that, chatting to myself effectively, I think I've figured out why my my sliding in place isn't always happening. Okay, that's good that does that, yes, actually. So the drop down is kind of consistent. The down arrow is always on, which is good. Right. So what I want to do actually is think of the scenario I need to actually code. What time is it? 4 o'clock. We had an hour, but I'm at least getting somewhere now. So I'll carry on for a little bit, I think. So what I want is basically I just need, if the block can't slide left, or let's just do one direction. So if it's going left, if I'm just dropping down and there's no left or right pressed, then I don't have to care about anything. But if I have pressed left and the block can't slide left, but then it can slide left, then I want to be able to catch that. Because even if I'm only moving left and right freely using my 100 millisecond repeat rate, I might drop that down a bit so we can see it a little easier. Let's drop it to 500. So that's going to cause the repeat rate, or the rate to repeat every half a second. So yeah, now the block is moving every half second, and you'll see in that period, it could easily drop at a point where it's aligned with the grid, but the arrow isn't on and it's not moving left or right. So it's just going to miss the gaps. So what I want to be able to do is catch that scenario where it's not moving left, but the key is held down. I wonder. So let's see, what can I do there? What I can do is I can use my left and right pressed, which are now separate from my other variables, which are calculated, like dx and dy. Yes, right. So let's have a look at. So we've got drop pressed. Yeah, that's why that's continually. So drop pressed is happening every frame, which is fine. That's why when I drop the block down, the down arrow is continually on. Okay. Project the block sideways for a collision test. So I was obviously trying to do something here. So I'm every frame, new block position dx, but of course that's sometimes going to be 0. Adjust the position if the block is aligned with the grid. This lets the block slide. So that I think is probably the right thing to do. Test to see if the falling block can move sideways. Right. I'm just going to have another sip of tea. And then we've got the final bit, test to see if it can move straight down. So, I tell you what I also want to do is if it can move sideways, I probably want to set dy to be 0, don't I? Because there was a bug earlier where I managed to move a block sideways into a gap and then it dropped one grid cell down, which was probably just a freak, but it might be to do with not setting dy to 0 in the event that a block is going to slide left or right. Okay. So test to see, I mean, we need the special case, the fact that we're sliding, the block is moving down the side of a something that's preventing it from sliding, so down the side of a wall or something like that. How does it know that? It's going to be something like, well, I suppose it's just going to be left pressed, but it can't move left. On a frame by frame basis, if it suddenly gets to left pressed and it can move left, on another frame when the previous frame it couldn't move left, I think it should, because that means as long as the key is still held down, because that's got to override the repeat rate, hasn't it? Right, so let's try that. So what I want to do is test to see if the block can move sideways. So let's leave let's do sideways test if left or right movement key is pressed. So if left pressed or right pressed, we want to do var temporary dx is equal to left pressed. No, what do we want? Left pressed is true. We want -1. Else we want 1 if we're going to the right. Multiplied by block size. And then we want the aligned block position. Yeah, that's right. So we want aligned block pos. Let's see, new block position. So we've done new block position up there, haven't we already? I kind of want another one, don't I? Get aligned grid position. I might as well just use that. I can just use aligned pos for now. Do I use it further down here? Yeah, but it resets it down there. Okay. So let's see if no, I'm gonna write the code self-contained for the minute. So although I'm putting vars in here, I know they're not scoped to the block. It's just a JavaScript thing. I'm just used to writing C and C++ code. So I kind of think it is, but it's not for now. Temp pos equals self.block.get position. Temp pos dot. So we want to borrow this bit of code here. So we do that. If new block position then we want temp pos dot x plus equals temp dx, and then we want to do collide block. Right, let's do that for a minute. New block position, temp pos. Right. So that will tell me if it can slide left or right in the event that the left or right is pressed. I want to store these separately, don't I? So let's do self dot can slide. Slide, yes, that'll do. No, it's actually, I've used sliding in a different place. I want to do can move left equals left pressed and it's not equal 0. Is it not equal 0? No, equal 0, yeah. Ooh. Come back, there it is. So I'm storing these variables so that, let's see, so can move left and can move right. Put that out here, temp collision. Ooh. Equals 0. Now I'm going to set it to 1 because I want can or could. Hang on, what we want. Can move left as a local variable. Can move right as that. So left pressed and right and equal, so it's going to be false. And what I want to do is if can move left, so let's see, if can move left, and I'm going to use a variable, I'm going to store the variable in the object, in the game object. If self.could, I mean, I'll call it that for now, but it's the previous frame, so could move left. So if it can move left and not could move left, then we kind of want to go left, don't we, at this point? So we want to be able to set dx is equal to 0. So it can move left pressed. So can move left. Left has got to be pressed. Yeah. So we want to set dx equal to left pressed or right pressed. It's temp dx, isn't it? And we want if can move right and not could move right. Oh, same thing. And then we want to do self.could move left equals can move left. Could move right. I hate these variable names. I'm going to think a bit more carefully about this and probably refactor it next time. But I'm just knocking it all up for now to see if it works. Could move left, right can move. Let's stick these could move left and right into the object itself. So where am I doing this? Here we go. Collision test indicators. Previous frame movement flags. So what does that do for me? That basically says, funny enough, we had a new block position down here, haven't we? I actually want to put this below, don't I, really? Put that there. Project the block sideways. I want this bit and that bit, but I want it down here. Right. That's where it tests new block position. Right. So all this bit of code here, so let's see if this is going to work. Self, get that. Got aligned pos. Yep. Okay, we're using temporary variables, so it's fine. Temp collision. Oh. Okay, let's save. What is sure JS int is very whinging of this. Expected triple equals or double equals. Where's that? Ooh. Seems to have got those lines completely messed up, but maybe I've got some missing. Did I miss a bracket somewhere? It's actually talking about scope, possibly because it thinks tempdx, temp pos. That'll do. It doesn't know I'm not using ES6. I'm only using ES5. I think ES6 has some scoping. Missing semicolon. Nope. Okay. It's definitely got itself confused there. Never mind. Right. So let's see. What have I done? It's still actually working. That's a good thing. So this is all fine. Woo! It does move quickly. Is that to do with the oh, hang on. I've done can move right. Bit of typo. Right. Okay, that's better. Right. So we're still doing the slow repeat every half a second, except for the drop, which should be reasonably quick. Yep. So what should happen now is that it should pop in, regardless, if it can. Oh, well, it did. Although it's difficult to test this to actually fix my bug, because it was a very difficult scenario to reproduce. But the other thing I wanted to make sure I did as well is if there's no collision, so if test to see if a block can move straight down. Oh, no, we don't want to clear dy, because then it'll stop moving down under normal circumstances. I'll leave. I was concerned earlier on about the block dropping into position and then going one cell lower when it shouldn't, but I'll worry about that separately. Let's test this out. All right, how do I might have another couple of indicators to give me the state of my variables, my could move variables. Let's see. Let's do that. Let's have some more indicators. So let's have key press indicators, general general variable indicators. Right. So we want one for could move left and one for could move right, I think. And I'm going to use draw nodes again. Yep. There's another good candidate for refactoring this code. I'm probably thinking I'm going to end up using this quite a bit. And most games you see, when you see developers, they have some kind of dashboard or framework allowing them to, in real time, inspect things going on inside the game, because you can only use the debugger so much when you've got a breakpoint, because games are real time and they're updating continuously. So you want to watch your data and see what happens to it, which is exactly what I'm doing here. So I needed to use these indicators to tell me when my key presses were going on, and then also when my variables were set that would allow the blocks to move and rotate and what have you. So we'll do the similar thing with these move left and right variables. So I want two of them. Then we don't want to draw a polygon. Let's see if we can draw something else for these indicators. Circles is probably good. So dot draw circle. Now, which one of these is the actual one I want? It's probably going to be this one. Center, radius, angle, segments, draw lines to center. Okay, so center is going to be a point. Center, radius, angle. What's the angle in radians? Yeah, it's not very consistent. Cocos2d-JS. Rotation around here is in degrees, but then we've got radians down here. Never mind. Circle center dot p. Let's do 0, 0 for now. I'll move it in position in a minute. Center radius 50. Now I've forgotten already what the parameters were. Angle in radians. What do we want? 2 pi. Where's pi defined now? Pi. No, let's search for that match case. There we go. Math.pi. Right. Excellent. Math.pi. And then there's even a constant actually. See, that's in the framework. Doesn't matter. I'll leave it as 2 times pi. Segments. Number of segments to draw. I know 32. Line to the center. We'll leave that off. It's probably defaulting to false. Draw a circle. Right. There. That. Then we want set position. So self.gamePanel.x minus 200 self.gamePanel. Oh no, we want h divided by 2. Actually, h divided by 3 times 2 should give us 2/3 of this up the screen. And then we want to do self add child. No color. Where's the color? Was I supposed to put a color in there somewhere? I'm missing a color. Let's search for that. Draw primitives. No. Quickly look at the Cocos2d-JS API docs. I say quickly, take a bit of time to navigate through these things. Notice 314 is out as well. I'm pretty sure my projects, AquaStax, I'm only using 3 3.13 am I? Yeah, I've got Cocos2d-JS 3.13.1. So at some point I could probably update, see what's going on there. I'll look at the docs offline and see what's changed. API. Usually changes in Cocos2d-JS version are not simple to update. I mean, the update process is pretty straightforward, but you'll find the code is broken. I don't think I've ever had an update of Cocos2d-JS where it's not been broken over the years. I mean, their code isn't broken as such, but things change. Lots of developers change Cocos2d-JS and Cocos2d-JS. Although it's kind of managed by a single company out of Korea, there are lots of open source developers change it, and basically they allow pull requests and bugs appear to be fixed, but it's quite common that other bugs will have occurred because of those fixes. So you end up hanging on to once you've got a working version of Cocos2d-JS, you tend to hang on to it for a long time. It's a risky business upgrading. What was I doing? I was doing draw node, cc.node, draw node. I don't mean to be down on it. I actually really like it, and I think it's a great framework. But you have to be very careful of upgrading. Draw circle. Here we go. Right. Center, radius, angle, segments. Yeah. Draw line to center, false. Line width and color. Right. Okay. Line width. Draw line to center, false. Line width. Oh no, 2 pixels. Color. cc.color. Let's have it green. Red, green, blue. Right, cc.addChild. So let's just see if that worked. No, I've probably got some errors. Syntax in the code. Unexpected token, semicolon, line 28. Yes, of course. Okay. There we go, and there's a nice circle. Oh, it's a no fill color. That's annoying. I wanted a solid color, but never mind. Let's just double check that there isn't another option for that. Draw circle line width color. No, I'd have to do probably draw polygon and fill it. Yeah, shame you can't draw a filled circle. Never mind. It'll do for now. So let's make it slightly less, slightly bigger, slightly smaller in size. And we're going to have another one which is green. Actually, I should put arrows in again, shouldn't I? Because I'm using left and right. Could move left, could move right, and I want these to indicate those, so I should use arrows. Let's do red. Actually, I'll do blue. And the position, height, minus, what are they, 30, so if I do minus 50, that'll be about right. Okay, oh, it's radius, isn't it? Not diameter. Radius of 20 minus 50, yeah, that should give us a gap in between. Right. Where am I? Yeah, there they are, right. So, what I want to do is indicate a 0 to be can move left. So let's just let's hide them first. So down here, what I'll do is I'll do self dot variable indicator 0 dot set visible self dot could move left. So if could move left is true, it shows it. And I might need another 2 indicators to show that it can move left and right in the current frame, can't I? Left, move right. So, see those variables, what I'm using is those could move left and could move right. They're triggered when a button is pressed and the collision is not the case. So what I want them to be is false whilst moving down a block, or moving down the edge of a block, and then true the moment. Well, then I want the current one. Actually, I should do can move left, can't I? Let's do this. Can move left. Let's just do these ones first. Can move left. Can move right. So they're not there. But they're only going to be there when the thing can move left. But if it's moving down somewhere where it can't actually go left, so I'm holding the left key down, but the circle's not there, so it can't move left at the moment, which is right. Okay, it can move right, can't move right. Okay. Now where are we? Ooh, almost on the hour and a half. I'm going to call this a day very soon. But there. Let's do that. So as I'm shifting it down here, I'm holding to the left. It's not on. Boom. So I was expecting it to not be on. That's right. I was expecting it to not be on because it goes off as soon as it can't move to the left. So it's off. So if I have this one down here, it's definitely off. Actually, I should do the inverse, shouldn't I? So if it can't move left. So because I'm not pressing the keys, it's not moving left. As soon as I press a key, it flashes at the same point as it. Now if I hold the key down, it can't move left. Right. Trying to convince myself I know what I'm talking about. Let's do that. Not that one. That one will do. So if I hit left now, the light stays on because it can't move left, and it disappears as soon as it goes into the gap, which is correct, because what the business of the indicators just here is if it gets calculated that it can move left, and on the previous frame it couldn't, it's going to jump in. And can move left is only set true when left is actually pressed. So if I'm just dropping down past a block, it's definitely not going to jump in accidentally, because DX should be set to 0 and left at 0. So let's just make sure that doesn't slide in by itself. No, it doesn't. Okay. Let's see, it still works on a bottom thing, yeah. So it still works when it hits the bottom. Okay. Not hit the bottom, but hits the somewhere where there's a block beneath it. Let's try this one and slide it into the right. Dink. That slid into the right. That's nice. Excellent. Right. Will this slide in underneath if I hold to the right? Dink. Yes, it does. That's good. What about that one? Holding to the right. Excellent. So this is looking half reasonable. I'm quite liking this so far. I want to see if I can do... let's see if I can slide this one into the left, because it's off the bottom of the screen. Yep, that slid in nicely. Right. I'm quite pleased. This seems to be working so far. Oh, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bump up my my delay back to whatever it was before. I can't remember. Undo. Okay. There we go. Right. So we're rotating, moving a bit faster now. What I find, or what I did find when playing the game, was half the fun is rapidly pressing the buttons to get it to move slightly faster than the repeat rate. The repeat delay is it's not quite good enough to be used, and that's the idea basically, is that you know, to get a bit more fun out of it, you've got to whack the buttons fast. So there we go, dink. So that's nicely jumping in there. Now I'm going to play with this a bit off stream probably, see if I can get that bug where it was jumping below. But actually, I think having fixed this properly now, so that it's going to jump to the right, hopefully I will have that other bug won't occur anymore, because there's no more scenario where it will get to the bottom. Let's see if I can, how far you can jump. You should only be able to move it sort of one cell left or right when it kind of lands. It's difficult to know when it's going to land, but I can't do that. If I hold the left button down now, I can't tell. You certainly can't shuffle it along really quickly though. Anyway, I think that's probably a good point to end the stream, because it's kind of working a little bit as I like. I've just noticed a nice interesting zigzag pattern there. What I'm going to do is see if I can't get something to slot in there and then slide out again. Actually, no, that'll slot in and stay there, won't it? It should do. So let's hold it to the left. Pop. Yep, that's slotted in. Perfect. That'll slide off. Just trying to think if there's a scenario where I can slot something in and have it slide out again. There probably isn't. I can't rotate that there. There we go. Ooh, that was interesting. That rotated into place and it overlapped. There's a good bug. I'm going to make a note of that before I forget and call it a day, because I could spend hours playing around with that and it'd get rather boring for you guys watching. So I did that. Let's make a note of the date, 16th. So fix the block sliding into place. Did this but broke again. It's okay. Have now worked out a solution for this using left and right key pressed and storing previous frame values for could move left. I'll leave that there for a minute. It should be fixed. I'll mark hopefully fixed. Partially I need to understand the alignment of blocks vertically, so there's a magic number. So I actually got rid of my magic number because I now think that this bit of code that works out twice the amount of pixels that it moves per frame. So actually I'm going to write this down. Okay. If the block is within 2 times the gap, is it gap? 2 times the amount it moves by per frame, then assume it's aligned with the grid. Right. I think that was my reasoning on that. Basically, if it's within 1 per frame's movement amount above or below, which combined is twice, and then it uses the subtract down here, math.ab subtract, to find the relative distance between the grid alignment and the block. Then it aligns it. That's good. Right. So we did that. And then more magic numbers. Abstract the keyboard key so that in future I can redefine them without change all the code. Well, I've kind of done that today as well. Not totally abstracted, but I'm now only using local variables for the pressed, rotated, left and right movement options rather than specific keys. So I could change these keys at a later date if I wanted to, or add in additional keys. So if I wanted to have W, A, S and D in here as well, I could just do or self.keypressed left would be A, wouldn't it? So I don't know if that's actually a thing. Oh, it is, yeah, within the thing. But I'll do that another day. Actually, I should do that because I'm left-handed. Well, I'm not. I'm kind of weirdly ambidextrous. I use a mouse with my left hand, and I eat left-handed food, knife and fork. But generally, I write with my right hand, although I'm pretty good at writing with my left. And I capture my left and right simultaneously. You know, so I'm kind of ambidextrous, but mostly right, but then left with certain things. I'll do that for now. That's for another day. To refactor, block or grid functions that only operate on single cells. I'll leave that in there as well. Right, so that's good. Was there any crap code I want to get rid of before I commit it? I think it was fairly reasonable. There's lots of duplicated code. Should refactor some of that into something a bit more friendly a bit later on. I mean, I did a lot of copying and pasting there, but I was quickly trying to figure out things on the screen using indicators. Actually, I might make a note of that. To refactor the right. Ooh, that I can get rid of. I hate leaving commented out code because you always forget what the hell it was for, and you never know whether it was something you meant to put back in, something that should be left out. If it's to remind you of something, then it needs to be commented as to what the reminder is. So I usually try and just get rid of commented out code. If it's been there more than a couple of times, oh, latest follow. Thanks very much. Much appreciated. I do appreciate the follow. ACP_live_edu. I imagine that's ACP might be your initials. But thanks very much. I do appreciate the follow. Yes, if you guys follow me, then you get notified by live coding or live edu when I go live. I stream regularly on Thursday evenings at 3 o'clock UK time and Thursday afternoons, yep, and Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. UK time, 8 till 9. Usually I try and keep it to the hour, but if I get onto a bit of a roll like I did today, then I go for longer. Blimey, it's been like an hour and 40 minutes today. That's quite a good one. Let's just leave that as it is. Actually, I should definitely, I'm going to make a note as well that I should move the block handling functions. Oh, I forgot to remember that. Let's see, move the block movement functions out of game.update into its own handle block move method or something. Definitely got to do that at some point because I've got a large amount of stuff inside update now. Right, that still work? Yep. Excellent. Now I shall just commit this to GitHub and then call it a day. Okay. Ooh. Hashimati, good to see you. Sorry, I've not been announcing everybody who's arrived today. People have been coming and going quite rapidly. Commit. Right. So hopefully now sorted out the block sliding into gaps issue using previous frame data and key held down values to test when moving between, or when the block moves between grid cells. Okay, commit push. Excellent, that went, and we're good. Right, I think that's going to be a lot for today. Thanks very much for watching. I much appreciate it. Thanks very much, Jacobs. You've been sitting there for an hour and 40 minutes now watching me do this. You've probably fallen asleep. I do appreciate the viewing. And everybody else. And I shall see you next Tuesday, if you like. Tuesday evening, 8 o'clock. And just going to drop back to my splash screen, and I'll see you all soon.